Hey everyone, before I get into this Voltron theory, I want to talk about this video's sponsor, Voltron Amino. For those that don't know about this app, basically it's a place where fans of Voltron can meet and express their love for the show. This could be through making theories, posting fan art, or creating polls or quizzes. It is super easy to scroll through the app and find the most popular or latest posts. I love any fan art that has a crossover with the characters from Voltron. And since this video is about a Voltron theory, I challenge you guys to post your own Voltron theories on the Voltron Amino using the hashtag #CUVoltron, and the top theories will get the winner's verified titles for their profile. Some topics to think about are Lotor, how Shiro did survive, anything about Matt, or anything I did not cover in this video. So make sure to follow Cartooniverse by searching up the channel's name, and with that being said, it is time to begin the theory. Today I want to talk about Keith's family. Learning about where he came from was one of the most important aspects of the second season. And of course, this is something that got me very excited, because Galra Keith was the topic of my first Voltron theory video. Something very cool that happened this season was that we actually got to see his father. And we got a mention of his mother, so it's only a matter of time before we get to learn more about both of them. So to begin, let's talk about Keith's dad. We get a glimpse of him in the episode Blade of Marmora, which is one of my favorite episodes of the season. And the interactions between the two say a lot about what their relationship was like. Instead of asking his dad how he could be there, or what he is currently doing, he's just more focused on the events taking place outside. He doesn't question this, perhaps because seeing his father is one of the things he wants the most. In contrast, something he really fears is the Galra invading Earth. And combining these two things is what the trials do to mess with Keith's mind. But there is another fear that Keith has that is shown in this scene that reveals a lot about what may have happened to his father. That is, the fear of losing someone close. In the previous trial, Keith had to choose between his past and being a paladin of Voltron. When Keith chooses to keep his knife, Shiro says, then you've chosen to be alone. Keith immediately regrets his decision, possibly because he doesn't want to go through this again. And when I say this, I mean that Keith's father left him when he was younger, which of course is never explicitly stated, but looking at how he reacts to Shiro, the person he is closest to, leaving, and how distant he is to his father, a conclusion can be made about what happened between them. Keith's father asks him if he wants to catch up, which also alludes to him having left and still actually being alive. And even worse, something seems off about this man's behavior. When he says Keith's mom will be here soon, it almost looks like he has other intentions. So maybe he left all those years ago because he did not care enough about his son, despite Keith loving his father a lot. And because of this, Keith no longer feels close to his father. Keith realized that knowing about the past is not as important as what he is dealing with now, but he still struggles choosing between the two. Moving on, something interesting I saw a lot of people talk about was that Keith's father looks a lot like Shiro. And yeah, just looking at them, I do see some similarities. Their overall face shape, as well as smaller details like their eyebrows, are really similar. This would lead some to believe that Shiro could possibly be Keith's half-brother, as they would have the same dad but different mothers. This would give new meaning to Keith's line about Shiro being like a brother to him. And while Keith's last name has yet to be confirmed, in the original series, the characters that are now Shiro and Keith both had last names that ended with Gane, as it was a theme with all the paladins to have last names that had to do with metals. For those two characters specifically, we had Kogane, which means gold, and Shirogane, which means silver. If they kept Keith's last name the same in this version of Voltron as it was in Go Lion, then perhaps it could show that he is actually related to Shiro. But for another possibility, what if the man we saw during Keith's trials wasn't what his father actually looked like? We have no idea about Keith's backstory, so it is very much possible that Shiro had a huge impact on Keith's life and supported him when he was very young. He was probably his mentor at the garrison, and believed in this troublemaking kid when nobody else did. Because of this, Keith's memories of his father merged with Shiro's image. After all, Keith has never claimed to have any memories about his parents. He doesn't have any pictures of them, and the only thing he has from them is the knife, which he is unsure of how it came into his possession in the first place. I think this would be amazing if this was actually the case. However, I do not believe this is extremely likely to be the truth. What would make more sense is that they based the design of Keith's father off of Keith from Voltron Force, another entry in the Voltron series. But in all honesty, Keith barely looks like his father, with the exception of their eye, skin, and hair colors, so I totally understand why there are so many theories about this. Now it is time to move on to discussing Keith's mom. We know even less about her than we do Keith's father, so there really isn't too much to be said about her, other than the fact that she is of Galra origin. And we don't know if she was full Galra or only partially so. It would make sense that she wasn't 100% Galra, because Keith looks nothing like any of the Galra we have seen in the series thus far. But it could be that the Galra genes are not totally dominant when it comes to physical features. Prince Lotor, for example, is Zarkon's son, but from what we have seen in the April 1st clip, as well as what he looked like in the original series, he is going to look almost nothing like his father. People speculate that his mother is Hagar, who's Altean, and she looks a whole lot like Lotor, even down to the purple skin, although that may just be her shapeshifting like we have seen Allura do before. With this in mind, assuming that Hagar is his mother, Lotor has no physical similarities to his father, despite him being half Galra and half Altean. The same thing could apply to Keith, and the only thing he has from his Galra ancestry is his temper and ability to unlock Galra-only objects. Going off the main topic for a moment, I would like to take a second to look at the diversity in the Galra species. From what we have seen thus far in the series, the way to identify a Galra is typically by their purple skin, yellow eyes, and some form of ridge or marking at the top of their head. However, there are exceptions to each one of these, ignoring Keith of course. And while most of them have these few things in common, there are more different about each individual than there are similarities. This is a testament to how the Galra race has spread out over thousands of years after their home planet was destroyed, and to how they have taken on the traits of the local species of the planets they have conquered. Perhaps the only pure Galra left is Zarkon. Now leading back into the main topic, the variety in the appearances of the Galra make it a lot more likely that a Galra could have come to Earth and eventually had a child with a human. Well, now that we have discussed the heritage of Keith's mother, it is now time to talk about if we have seen her or not. And to be honest, for this we don't really have much to go off on. In fact, we have yet to see a female Galra. There is one mysterious character that many have pointed out that could in fact be Keith's mother, and that is the Galra from the episode The Belly of the Weblum. In this episode, Keith finds a Galra who is stuck inside the Weblum. While he was wary of this newcomer at first, they eventually worked together and they both got what they came for. Looking at this character, it could be female, as they seem to have a more feminine body shape. And Keith does use male pronouns for this character, so this may have been done to throw viewers off from the truth. This could have been our first glimpse at a female Galra, who also happened to be Keith's mother. However, as we learn more about Lotor, the more likely that the Galra in the Weblum was him. They do have similar armor and build, and we know that Lotor is alive while the fate of Keith's mother is currently unknown. I wouldn't mind if either of these possibilities were the case, as on one hand the Galra Keith interacted with was literally his mother, and on the other it was the son of his greatest enemy. Now going back to the fact that somehow Keith's mother came to Earth, it could also have been a possibility that she was the pilot of the Blue Lion. After all, the lion was found on Earth, and Keith almost seemed to have a special bond to this lion, because he could sense it while he was alone in the desert.
Do you think the Galra ever went to Earth? Is that possible? I mean, they would have taken it over, right?
Oh, I think you'd know if the Galra were there.
The Blue Lion was there. Did a Galra pilot the Blue Lion too?
Whatever the case may be, I really hope we get to see Keith's mom soon. That is, if she is still alive. So I want to know what you guys think about Keith's family. Season 2 gave us more questions than answers, so I really hope at least some of these are addressed in Season 3. I would like to thank our many Patreon supporters. Also, some points in this theory were inspired from several different Tumblr posts. I will link them in the description below. Thanks for watching!